Round 4 of the 2021 Formula One season comes to Austria, and following a disaster race at Silverstone, the Audis of Carlos Sainz and Max Verstappen are praying for a straightforward race. The two teammates once again showed good pace along with the Ferraris, but Haas Chevrolet had clearly made a further step forward, meaning the fight for pole looks set to be ultra tight. Hulkenberg is optimistic his team can become the fastest car on the grid, while Ferrari and Audi are focusing on solving their tire and race pace issues. Red Bull also benefited from upgrades, with Chevrolet continuing to increase their power unit's performance, and the Red Bull team are in high spirits following Pierre Gasly's podium last race. The team believe they have an edge over some of the top teams on their tire wear, which has certainly been a large talking point and deciding factor on who has brought home points so far this season. And on that subject, Jaguar are wary that Austria may cause them issues with such an abrasive track and their car naturally being quite harsh on the tires. Their team bosses have pointed at their power unit being very brutal on power delivery to the rear tires as a main issue, but have said with their engine also being very thirsty on fuel, running in lower power modes could help both problems. So far though, perhaps unsurprisingly, the reigning Constructors' Champions have been the most consistent this season. And finally, Renault come to Austria frustrated after failing to score points last race and seeing their main rivals BMW Williams score high with both their drivers. Aitken showed good pace in Silverstone, but the team and car couldn't match the Williams one-stop strategies to gain track position. The French unit, though, believes it is only a matter of time before things come good. Taking a look now at the starting grid for the Austrian Grand Prix, and it's not one of the usual suspects who takes pole position, as Nico Hulkenberg goes quickest of all in his Haas Chevrolet, just 100th of a second quicker than the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc, who will start just ahead of his teammate Antonio Giovinazzi, but with a tenth and a half between them in Q3. Max Verstappen finds himself in an unwanted fourth position after a dismal race last time out where he finished dead last after starting on pole position, and Carlos Sainz will once again start alongside his teammate after setting an identical time to Max. And alongside him is the Mercedes of Sebastian Vettel, disappointed to be starting from the third row of the grid. Stoffel Vandoorne, the British Grand Prix winner, finds himself way down in P7, but can take some solace in knowing that his teammate and current championship leader, Aarava, will start behind him in P8. Meanwhile, Mick Schumacher, currently second in the championship standings, will be starting from 9th position alongside Pascal Wehrlein, who once again just about ekes into the top 10, although way off Nico Hulkenberg. Pierre Gasly, meanwhile, will start just outside the top 10 from 11th position on the 6th row of the grid alongside Daniel Ricciardo, who is once again the lead McLaren, as you would expect at this point. Nico Kari and the other Red Bull will start 13th, just ahead of the lead Renault of Jack Aitken, who does manage to squeeze onto the 7th row of the grid once again. Sophia Flörsch, the lead Monster Rehab car this time out, in 15th position. She'll be joined by the other Renault of Valtteri Bottas in 16th position. And Esteban Ocon does manage to put his Williams in 17th position and got off the back row of the grid, but once again, Lando Norris struggling in that McLaren could only manage 18th quickest in qualifying. George Russell for the Monster Rehab team does manage to get the better of Sergio Perez, but just about, as they are the last ones on the grid.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Aarava here, and welcome back to another episode of my F1 MyDriver Career Mode, episode number 4 today for Season 7 at the Austrian Grand Prix. If you did miss the last episode uploaded last Friday, be sure to go check that one out before you see this one. But you guys absolutely once again killed it on the support there, smashing those like buttons, and hopefully we can continue again for this episode. But thank you very much for that. After the last episode, then, this is how the standings look in the Drivers' World Championship as we round out the formation lap to prepare for the Austrian Grand Prix, with a nice margin over Mick Schumacher at the moment, and Stoffel Vandoorne finally getting on the board, and a pretty consistent performance for us all round as a team in Jaguar compared to the likes of Ferrari and Audi, who obviously you heard in practice have been struggling really to get their heads around the new 2021 tyres here that Pirelli have brought for this season, and definitely the likes of Haas are trying to take advantage of that, with Nico Hulkenberg now on pole position for this one. This race was quite a crazy one last season in 2020 with some rain involved. It's going to be all clear, I think, today for this one, but I would assume it's still going to be just as crazy, if not more, with the cars being so close together. So here we go then to 5 red lights to the Austrian Grand Prix. Round number 4 of Season 7 is underway as the lights go out, and it's a good start for us compared to Stoffel Vandoorne on the left-hand side. Good one for Carlos Sainz. He tried to go down the inside there of one of the Ferrari cars. I think that's Giovinazzi on the outside. There's Vettel, makes it through unscathed. We make some contact though with Van Dorn, and it's going to be, I think that's Charles Leclerc in the lead of this Grand Prix. So I think Hulkenberg's bottled this off the start. He's down to P4, I think that is. I think it's Max Verstappen chasing down Charles in second place. Those two go side by side as we send it down the inside of our teammate, unable to make that pass, and so we stick here in P8 ahead of Mick Schumacher, but ultimately can't get ahead of Stoffel Van Dorn. But let's look at a quick replay already. So into turn 1, Hulkenberg off pole position, gets kind of almost pushed wide by Charles Leclerc. All fair though, and Leclerc leads the way with Max Verstappen in second place chasing after him, and then he gets a great tow. Obviously the power of the Audi, that's still pretty damn good this season, of course, apart from the tyre wear issues. He goes round the outside and looks like he's going to get into the lead of the Grand Prix. So off the start, two lead changes in the Grand Prix in the span of just a couple of corners, and so it's Verstappen from Leclerc and Hulkenberg there in P4. Behind, I think that was Carlos Sainz, as Giovinazzi now defends from, I think that's Sebastian Vettel, and Vettel goes down the inside. I go down the inside of Van Dorn, to a bit of a synchronized move at the end of Sector 1, but unlike Sebastian Vettel up ahead, I'm unable to get the traction, and Van Dorn has done very well, and obviously in the same bit of machinery to keep it on the outside. So we tussle a little bit, a bit of contact made as we go down into the next corner. We'll be in the outside, in the inside, and Vettel is locked up though ahead of us, and Giovinazzi has got back up into 5th place. Vettel down to P6. We're still fighting very hard over P7. We're on the outside though for this next left-hander. It's already off camber as it is, in a tricky corner to navigate, let alone on a single qualifying lap, let alone trying to go side by side, and Van Dorn effectively just forces us wide there and takes that. So we're going to stay in P8 for now as we move on to the next lap, lap 3. Vettel tries another pop, and this time around the outside of turn 1. Very unorthodox place to make the pass, but Vettel looks like he has this, tries his best to power past that Ferrari car. The Ferrari should be faster in a straight line, but Vettel's got the traction, and Giovinazzi kind of got pinched into turn 1. Meanwhile though, back behind, back on board with us down the inside for the second time now on Van Dorn, and this time once again unable to get the traction. This time even poorer exit really than compared to lap 2, and we're going to have to stick behind him now, but we do have DRS this time crucially against Van Dorn, and we're going to dive it to the inside, and again we're going to be on the inside for this next right-hander, and a bit of more tyre contacts made, and this is a real nice scrap there with Stoffel Van Dorn as Sergio Perez out this Grand Prix. We now go around the outside. This time though, we find the grip, plant the power, get on the curbing somewhat. Van Dorn leaves us the room, and this is absolutely fantastic scrap with our teammate. It's so close, but no contact made there on the left-hand side as we shimmy and shake to give him the room. But down the inside, next flat-out right-hander, little lift-off though with the fuel we've got on board right now, but ultimately into the final corner, we will get ahead, and we're up into P7, although you can see I have to compromise my entry speed into that corner, so Van Dorn may get a good exit to maybe chase after me in the next lap or two. But we'll look at a replay now, and this is, Max Verstappen leading the way, then it's Charles Leclerc in second place, but now not for too long as Carlos Sainz goes down the inside. So as I said, that the Audi power still reigns supreme. Let's forget the tyre wear issues, the race pace issues. Ultimately, on paper, the Audi engine is still the best engine on this grid, and probably the Chevrolet engine, you would say, in recent races being close behind there. And so unfortunately, Charles Leclerc just doesn't have anything to answer for, and he's down to P3, and so it's an Audi 1-2 Verstappen to Carlos Sainz. And now we move back to our POV on lap 4. You can see a whole gaggle of cars behind me. There's yellow flags are out for Sergio Perez, who's parked up on the left there in the beginning of Sector 2. Van Dorn though round the outside cleanly, and that's a fantastic move there for Stoffel. He's done really well. We're going to have to chase back on him, but he's got DRS open and we do not, so we're compromising it. But we're on the outside trying to make this go the long way round, although we've locked up as it got very close there, got flustered, double lock up there for myself, and now Mick Schumacher has capitalised, and now we're starting to fend from the Red Bull of Pierre Gasly. So in a split second, we've gone from in P7 trying to do our best to chase after Giovinazzi and Sebastian Vettel to now defending from our former teammate from Red Bull, Pierre Gasly. And speaking about the other Red Bull car of Nico Kari, he's going to try and make a move on lap 6 into turn 1 on Pasco Verline. This is round the outside he goes, Chevrolet v Chevrolet power, and Kari has managed to go round the outside. Of course, this is exactly what Haas wanted in terms of, they can directly compare themselves to Red Bull, and you can clearly see see, even though Haas have made strides, it looks like at the moment against Wehrlein at least, the Red Bull car's going pretty well because there's Gasly and Kari ahead of Wehrlein. Obviously Wehrlein, so far, he's done really well in the races, but he's had a very slow start in terms of qualifying and the opening few laps in every single race so far. So Wehrlein definitely needs to pick that up if he wants to try and really make a stride on the championship, because at the moment he's been pretty damn consistent. Just needs the pace in on Saturday and in the opening laps of the race. Meanwhile now on lap 7, Schumacher down the inside of my teammate Van Dorn, and I'm going to take that as a bit of a kind of message that I think the tyres starting to go off, at least on our car. Obviously the Jaguar car, we know, you've been told in practice already, we've known so far that this Jaguar car is not very easy on its tyres. It's very, very harsh in the way the car's set up and also the power delivery on the rear end here. And clearly Van Dorn, after being overtaken by Schumacher down the inside there, we have the performance over the Mercedes cars so far this season, I would like to think. So him being overtaken quite easily down the inside was my indication that, yeah, we need to come in for an earlier pit stop on lap 7 here. And so, yeah, we're on to a brand spanking new set of ultra soft tyres. So we are going aggressive in this race, and it's probably going to end up being a 3-stop for us today, with 2 sets of super softs perhaps being used, with 8 laps. We'll probably get to lap 16 probably with this second set of tyres probably, and then we'll have 20 laps to go, split those 10 each on super soft tyres. That's my thinking there. As we move on to lap 9 though, we've got the 2 Red Bull cars fighting in a bit of a swap there for Nico Kari up ahead of his more senior teammate Pierre Gasly there. So Kari going well. Obviously Gasly the one who scored the fantastic podium last time out, so Kari now doing well to maybe show up his teammate this time around at Austria. Now he goes for a move on Van Dorn. So Van Dorn really struggling now on lap 10. He's still on those ultra soft tyres. Obviously the Red Bull cars are also, but you can clearly see what we learned from practice. The Red Bull cars a little bit lighter on their tyres, and Van Dorn really struggling, and this is exactly what I was saying. That's why I came in 2 laps earlier, Stoffel, because you're struggling now on those tyres, and our car just doesn't have the pace if you're on 11 lap worn tyres now, as he continues on for another lap. Crazy. And Wehrlein now is down the inside. Even with DRS, it's Wehrlein to the inside of turn 1. He's going to be forced wide, Van Dorn is, and now he's got the monster rehab car. I think of that Sophia Flourish right behind him there. So Van Dorn really not doing well here, and this is going to hurt his entire race at the moment. I think he's maybe trying a very ambitious 2-stop, but our car just does not have the tyre wear for it. And so round the outside Sophia Flourish goes, I think that is, and she's going to be up into what will now be, I think that's pretty much the tail end of the points there for Van Dorn, unfortunately. Meanwhile, up in the lead of this Grand Prix, very nice camera angle of Max Verstappen leading the way, but now he's going to brake early and come into the pits now, and it will be Nico Hülkenberg that continues on along with Carlos Sainz. So it's going to be Sainz who leads the way, then Hülkenberg in second, and it's going to be Sebastian Vettel at the moment, who's doing really fantastically to be there in P3, right up the chuff of Hülkenberg there. So Vettel really using the downforce that Mercedes has, trying to alleviate any of the power kind of deficit that the Mercedes engines have over the Chevrolet and Audi engines. And Vettel actually looking kind of like he's going to make a move, but alas, not going to be quite there yet. On lap 12 though, now you can see Van Dorn still on the ultra soft tyres, and he's actually trying to come back though. Fair play to him on Sophia here around the outside at the end of sector 1. So fair enough, maybe a bit of a second phase of that ultra soft tyre, or maybe just the monster rehab car finally hitting some tyre wear there. But now we move on back to our POV. Finally on lap 12 we're catching up to cars now after being so alone for many laps now, just pounding around pretty good actually in clean air, so much clean air. So we did decently to kind of calculate that pit stop to find us that clean air, and so we're easily down Lando Norris. But you can see as we look behind us, the Honda engine, we haven't mentioned it so far, the Honda engine is still a very, very decent engine this season. You can see there in a straight line, even with DRS, Norris keeps up with me. It's just the fact that McLaren have kind of gone backwards and backwards in terms of aero. Ever since they, in the glory days of, seasons 1 to 3 of MyDriver, and so now they just can't keep up with the top teams, and they really need to sort that out. Obviously, Eric Boulier has, alluded to the fact the car is kind of like a bucking bronco, and that's why Norris has found it a little bit trickier, obviously, compared to the more experienced Ricciardo, to kind of wrestle that car up into kind of points position so far. But we go down the inside there. Oh, that was George Russell very easily down the inside. The Monster Rehab team suffering a little bit, obviously. They did fantastically in 2020, but with the huge aero regulations, when there's an aero regulation shake-up like this, it kind of separates the kind of big teams from the smaller teams in terms of who has the budget to actually do a good job on the new aero. Meanwhile, now on lap 13 down the inside, speaking about a bigger team on a smaller team, is the Ferrari car down the inside of that Renault, and you can see that is basically Carlos Sainz and Charles Leclerc, both of them having made their first pit stop this afternoon, now catching up to Stoffel Van Dorn and basically getting way through essentially traffic that are yet to pit in this race so far. But you can clearly see that Van Dorn is suffering. There is Verstappen up the road ahead of Van Dorn there on track, and he's chasing after the 2 Red Bull cars who are also yet to make a pit stop in this race. Now, the Red Bull cars may be able to maybe make a 2-stop work, but I really don't think Stoffel is, and he's really going to suffer from it. And meanwhile there, finally, Giovinazzi comes in. Schumacher continues on, actually, quite surprisingly, and Hulkenberg's even in as well. So I think it's going to be Schumacher momentarily is going to be leading the Austrian Grand Prix, although I think eventually he will fall down the orders. We move back to our POV then on lap 14. We're catching up to our fellow Brit, Jack Aitken. We can't quite make a move down the inside. We have to be a bit patient, actually, as Vettel locks up ahead of him. Vettel off circuit, actually, there on the left-hand side, and we're going to make a double overtake, perhaps, as we now slipstream Aitken, and we're on the left-hand side, but Vettel down the order. He's on soft tyres there, so he's gone more conservative earlier on in this race. We go around the outside, try not to lock up like we did, but it's going to be another lock up there. Actually, I jinxed it there. I said we need to try and avoid that, but we do the exact same thing we did when we tried to make a move around the outside of Van Dorn, and now we have to make a move down the inside work, and we have to go opposite lock as we hit the curbing there, and the rear end snaps out. But what a save and a half there, and a bit of gymkhana going on at the Austrian Grand Prix. We're still hustling and hounding Jack Aitken for the second time now this season. We had a similar battle at the Brazilian Grand Prix. I don't know what it is about me and Jack, but we have a pretty decent scrap here so far in MyDriver. We go down the inside into the final corner, and we're up into P11 then finally, and Vettel will or surely, hopefully overtake Aitken, you would like to think, soon enough. But we now go up into P7 as now you got a final few people making their pit stops. I think that was also Schumacher there, and now behind though you can see actually Vettel's not going forward, he's going backwards, and now you can see that is, I think, Nico Hulkenberg making the move on Sebastian Vettel, and he's going to be up ahead of his fellow German there with the Ferrari not too far behind of Giovinazzi. But you can see Hulkenberg, you know, from being around, what was it, P4, is now you know, a lot further away from the 2 Audi cars on track, because he went a lot longer in that first stint. So you can see, you know, the undercut is working so good here around Austria. But now to lap 16, the safety car is actually out here for someone retiring in this Grand Prix. So that's going to change things up a little bit, because it's bang on perfect on lap 16 here. So on lap 16, that's exactly when I wanted to come in. So we're going to get a pretty good free pit stop here, basically. Let's look at the replay now of why the safety car came out. A battle between Hulkenberg, Vettel, Aitken, and Giovinazzi. And Vettel down the inside of Aitken. And I think there's going to be, oh, horrendous crash then. Aitken out of the Austrian Grand Prix. And that looked like a very nasty crash. So Hulkenberg down the inside. He makes the move fair and square. Bit of contact made, though. And that puts Aitken off there a little bit. And now Vettel slams into him. And then, what on earth? Oh, he's been absolutely taken out. He's been absolutely taken out by Sebastian Vettel. What on earth has gone on through Vettel's mind? Obviously, he slams into Aitken there. That wasn't really his fault, as a Hulkenberg sent him wide. And he's lost a bit of a swelling. But then what is he doing? What is he doing? Sebastian Vettel loses his mind. A moment of madness for the 5-time world champion here in MyDriver, and he slams into the wall. I'm surprised he's not out of the Grand Prix himself there. But I'm really unfortunate there for Aitken, and that's not gonna help Renault's frustrations. Obviously, Renault frustrated not to capitalise on the dismal performance of a lot of top teams at the British Grand Prix last time out, whereas BMW Williams obviously had a high-scoring 2 positions with Esteban Ocon and Sergio Perez. So that's not going to add to Renault's kind of delight there of having one of their cars out of this Grand Prix. Although I do believe Bottas is going pretty damn well in this race so far. And now we made the pit stop on lap 17, and we're out now on a set of super soft tyres. As I said, effectively a free pit stop, although plenty of people are staying out. So we're going to be down the order somewhat on in P15 there. But we now move on to lap 18, and just taking a look at the running order under the safety car, it's Carlos Sainz that leads the way from Charles Leclerc, and it's going to be Nico Hulkenberg then in 3rd position, with Giovinazzi then in 4th, and it's going to be Max Verstappen down in 5th. So I don't know exactly how that's actually happened. A bit of shuffling there. I believe Verstappen may have made another pit stop under the safety car onto soft tyres, whereas Carlos Sainz has stuck it out on the super soft tyres that he was already on his 2nd stint. So I think Verstappen has gone down the order in that kind of fashion, and that's also how Hulkenberg's got up into 3rd place. And in this stage of the Grand Prix, both Red Bull Chevrolet cars in the points there, with Kari and Gasly there just behind Pascal Wehrlein. But we now move on to what I thought was going to be the safety car restart, but now we've got some issues for Max Verstappen. He's smoking away, and we're meant to get underway, but the safety car is going to stay out for one more lap here as Carlos Sainz leads the way and leads the train at the same time as Verstappen goes and parks up at the exit of turn 1 there on the slip road. And as we move back to our POV, there he is parking up on the left hand side, and that is absolute misery then for Max Verstappen and Audi as a whole. Obviously, Verstappen already had issues last race, came stone dead last, and had a puncture. Already wasn't satisfied with his qualifying yesterday on Saturday, but now goes out the Grand Prix with an engine failure. It just hasn't been Audi's season so far, with 4 rounds gone. Just so much bad luck here so far in 2021. But the madness isn't going to end there for us, because under the safety car, due to Verstappen going out, there's a bit of a glitch here. So breaking the 4th wall for a second here. I don't exactly know what went on with the game here, but there's a bit of glitching going on, and somehow Stoffel van Dorn, my teammate, has just lost 4 positions. I've gained some, and we're up into P12 along with Russell going up all the way into P11. So bit of a weird one there, but I think that was also due to the game not expecting Verstappen to park it up there under the safety car restart. So now we get underway after one more lap after we should have got underway on lap 18. We're now going to get underway on lap 90 as we move on to lap 20. So 16 laps to go in this Grand Prix. This race has flown by, and there's still plenty of action to go as we got to move down the inside there. From that is going to be Daniel Ricciardo. He's going side by side with Esteban Ocon there, and Ocon has lost the position to his fellow Honda-powered cars. We now try and chase after Russell with Rich Mix flowing, and now Russell's going to make a move down the inside of Esteban Ocon. We're going to go to the left-hand side. Oh, I just about missed Esteban Ocon there. I was not expecting that car to be so slow in the brake zone there, and we have to take avoiding action now. Russell's been squeezed out by Ocon, and so we'll go on the outside there to try and overtake our fellow Brit on the left-hand side. A little bit of squeezing going on as we enter the brake zone. Russell's absolutely sent it down the inside. What a dive bomb, son, down the inside there, and he's got it, and he's going to keep that P11 for now, and we're going to have to try and look behind us as Norris maybe tries and sniffs around for a position there, but we quickly catch up to Russell using the downforce of the Jaguar car compared to that monster rehab car. Down the inside, leaving the space, squeeze him out there on the curbing, and that's an aggressive and nice move up into P11, but Ocon causing us issues there, and a bit of a heart and mouth moment. That was nearly a front wing off there as I misjudged how slow that BMW Williams car brakes into this corner compared to my Jaguar car. And you can see, look at this gaggle of cars. The 2 Red Bulls go side by side. Then you've got Verline going side by side with another car, and Ricciardo closely followed behind. There it goes. Nico Kari trying to re-overtake his teammate Pierre Gasly on the left-hand side there. Gasly got it down the inside of the end of Sector 1, and the Frenchman is going to keep it ahead of his teammate, forming a bit of a train. But both those cars on soft tyres in P5 and P6, along with Antonio Giovinazzi in P4 on softs, as well as Nico Hülkenberg in P3. The only guys not on the soft tyres in that top 6 is these two leading the way. Carlos Sainz in first place and Charles Leclerc, who are both on ultra soft. So you would say they definitely have to pit 100% for a second pit stop here this race, those two. So it would be then Nico Hülkenberg leading the way as we try and fight his teammate Pascal Wehrlein. We tried to make a move down the inside. We think better of it though, because you can see Ricciardo is also trying to make a move around the outside, and he actually has done so. So fair play to Ricciardo, actually trying his best to wrestle that McLaren up the order, as now we try and make the move finally on Wehrlein on the left hand side. Not going to work. We're going to have to go to the inside, so a bit of a fake almost to the left, and then the right down the inside, going as deep as we can under the brakes, and we're up into P9 now. We can chase after Ricciardo in P8, but yeah, definitely they're going to have to pit soon. And on to lap 22, there we go. We've got Charles Leclerc in. Carlos Sainz stays out for one more lap at least, I would think this is, but Charles finally in. His teammate on soft tyres is going to try and continue on and try and keep up with Hülkenberg there, but eventually, as I said, the next lap Carlos Sainz is in, and so now this will mean Nico Hülkenberg, the German, is the one that leads the way from Antonio Giovinazzi, and then it's going to be surprisingly the 2 Red Bull Chevrolet cars then in P3 and P4. So both those guys, Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz, will have to hope they have the pace to come back. I'm not too sure if the Red Bull guys, the Haas of Hülkenberg and Giovinazzi, are trying to go right to the end. If they are, it's going to be ambitious, but you can clearly see Giovinazzi actually is struggling against the 2 Red Bull cars. He's already been overtaken by one, and now the other one's gone and overtaken him. Nico Kari making the move, and so the Red Bulls are going P2 and P3 at the moment in this race. Absolutely bonkers. So the Red Bulls showing some absolutely fantastic performance, and showing that tyre wear, that they've got that really great tyre wear coming into play. So now to lap 24, we make a very hasty move down the inside of not only Daniel Ricciardo, but also Sophia Flores. A bit of contact was made, so my bad there. I kind of just overcooked it into turn 1, but fair enough that Sophia was able to keep it there still in P7, but eventually we go down the inside, we pop it down really late on the brakes, squeeze her out, and we're going to be up the order now, and that's going to be Ricciardo's problem as they go side by side now, and we're up into P5, and Ricciardo will actually get up into P6, so Sophia pushed down to P7, but you can see there, Nico Kari then trying to make the move. Giovinazzi looks like he's actually stayed ahead of Nico Kari, so fair play to Antonio, but now eventually down the inside of this flat out right hander, Kari does get it eventually, and now that's Giovinazzi vulnerable in P4 finally, and so we're closing up with DRS wide open here, and so you can see Giovinazzi clearly struggling with tyre wear on these soft tyres compared to the Red Bull cars, and also myself on fresh super softs, obviously, as I made that pit stop under the safety car car. I say fresh, obviously by now they're a couple laps old, but here we go on the exit of turn 1. Couldn't make a move into turn 1, but that's fine. Be patient under the slipstream. Here we go to the inside now, the end of sector 1. Nice and easy on the brakes. We're going to leave Giovinazzi the room because he's still got it on the outside there. He's going to out-traction us, but we open DRS. He's got DRS as well, but using the Jaguar power. We're also in rich mix, and so here we go on the left-hand side. He squeezes us towards the grass. That's very, very close stuff there with Giovinazzi. Once again, always like battling Giovinazzi, but we're around the outside, and we're up into P4. But now we've got Nico Kari to try and overtake in P3, something I didn't think I was going to be saying in this race. I've got to say again, the two Red Bull cars out of nowhere are making what is seeming like a very audacious one-stop work out in this Grand Prix. Meanwhile, though, making the two-stop work, or trying to make the two-stop work, is Carlos Sainz. Down the inside of that is Sebastian Vettel, and so you can see Charles Leclerc is not too far behind there in the background, that flash of red, and so you can see Carlos Sainz and Charles Leclerc are just having to make this work and having to use their superior pace to offset the deficit of making an extra pit stop, although Carlos Sainz has just hit the back of that Monster Rehab car, and there was some carbon fibre off. But you can see eventually he's going to get it down the inside there of, I think that's Sophia Flores, and he's going to get it up into what will be around P7, I think that is. But as these guys make their way through this Grand Prix, just a little thought obviously on our race. Naturally we're going to make a 3-stop because we were pitting on lap 8, we pit on lap 16 under the safety car. Even if the safety car had not come out, I was going to pit then the super soft tyres and then split the remaining 20 laps 10 and 10 with 2 sets of supers. So we're yet to make that pit stop, and that pit stop will be coming up pretty damn soon on lap 27. I've actually delayed it by 1 lap here because I would have pit around lap 26, but we're catching up to Nico Kari, so I may as well make the move, and we're going to try and dart around and hastily and hesitantly make a move down the inside there. I kind of moved left and right in the brake zone trying to see where on earth Kari was going to park this car, but in a straight line there you can see we've still got the legs on the Chevrolet powered Red Bull car. It's just the fact that obviously our car is just munching up these tyres compared to Red Bull, both Red Bull guys, Gasly and Kari on soft tyres, clearly looking like they're going to the end of this race, which would be absolutely fantastic and pretty damn lucky as well. I've got to say, lucky gits. Obviously the safety car came out perfectly for them to transition on that 1-stop, so they've effectively made a 0-stop race, really, if you think about it, because as we come in on lap 29 then, finally, for a set of ultra soft tyres now, so I've extended this super soft stint a little bit longer in order to go on ultra soft tyres. So I was going to split it half and half, but I thought no, we'll send it a little bit more. I wasn't losing too much pace, and so now we'll be on a set of very punchy race tyres for the end of this Grand Prix with 6 laps gone. But unfortunately, Van Dorn's way out of this Grand Prix. Obviously he tried to make a 2-stop work, stupidly enough, but our car just doesn't have the tyre wear for it, and so he's way down the order. He's ahead of us right now on track, but he's going to have to make another pit stop still in this race, I think, because he's not going to make it to the end of this race as Sebastian Vettel sets the fast lap of the Grand Prix. But with 6 laps gone, we're down in P11, so you can see frustrating times here at Austria. Meanwhile, though, still in the lead of this Grand Prix is Nico Hulkenberg on soft tyres, followed by Pierre Gasly, not too far behind there. Nico Kari in 3rd place still, just at bonkers. But you can see there, Sophia Flourish then, I think this is, in P4, so she's doing a fantastic job at the moment on soft tyres, as well as Antonio Giovinazzi still trying to hang on. But you can see here comes Carlos Sainz, and also not too far behind there is Van Dorn, as I mentioned, who's yet to make a pit stop in this race. And then down the order is Charles Leclerc just down the road, but both those guys, Leclerc and Sainz, still coming back into this Grand Prix with fresher tyres. Speaking of fresher tyres, though, here we go on Valtteri Bottas down the inside. Sorry, Valtteri, going to try and ruin the party down the inside and take P10 away from him. So Bottas was running well in the points, but now we're taking that position from him, and we'll chase after George Russell if we can and try and overtake him soon enough. We actually do it on the very same lap in Sector 2. We're going to make a very tasty move round the outside. Look at that, finding the power, and that is such a satisfying move round the outside, and we're up into P9. And now can we chase down Charles Leclerc? Obviously Leclerc some way ahead, but also his super soft tyres that he's been on those boots for a fair few laps. And speaking about being on some tyres for a fair few laps, Stoffel Van Dorn still fighting away on the same set of tyres he's been on for most of this Grand Prix. He's still probably going to have to make another pit stop, unfortunately, but he's battling as hard as he can with the 2 Ferraris. He's actually going to overtake Antonio Giovinazzi, who's got some front wing damage there, and Charles Leclerc chasing close behind. So Van Dorn still putting up some sort of fight, but I think it's kind of all too futile for him in terms of effort in this Grand Prix. But Giovinazzi with damage there is surely going to go down the order. Meanwhile, though, there is Carlos Sainz in a comfortable at the moment P4, having already made some overtakes, and as I said, using the pace to his advantage to get back up into this this Grand Prix, but it's not going to be enough because at the moment still it is a 3-2 for the two Red Bull cars. Although as Gasly crosses the line here, it's actually going to be P1 because there is Nico Hulkenberg. He's in the pit lane. He's just made a pit stop there, and he comes out actually, quite funny enough though, still in P3. That's how much pace Nico Hulkenberg and the Haas Chevrolet car had in this race. He's made an extra pit stop here a lot later than Sainz, so he would have had a lot of tyre wear, and he's still come out in P3 ahead of Carlos Sainz. But quite amazingly, that leaves both Red Bull cars leading a 1-2 in this race. Absolutely insane scenes. But away from that, the question for us in this race is now, could we maybe get some decent points if we can catch Charles Leclerc? It's going to be tough though. But unfortunately, as you can see on lap 33, being chased down by Daniel Ricciardo and Pascal Wehrlein, and Ricciardo with DRS is making a really aggressive move round the outside, really squeezed us towards the grass, Ricciardo did, and he's round the outside, and somehow he's finding the pace to make a move here for P7 in this Grand Prix. We're in P8 now, trying desperately to go around the outside and hang this the long way round. We get wide, and we've done a wheelie on the curbs. Absolutely insane scenes there. Lovely wheelie, doing a Mark Webber from 2013, I think it was, in real life. Crazy, crazy stuff at China, that was, and we kind of recreated that around the outside there. Tried desperately to go the long way around the Australian, just couldn't make it work, and now we're going to have to try and re-overtake him now with DRS, and you can see Pascal Wehrlein is not too far behind, so although we do have fresh tyres, Ricciardo is on the same exact strategy as us, on the same set of fresh ultra soft tyres, as well as I think that's Pascal Wehrlein, so obviously those two cars benefiting from the same advantage we have. So we're going to have to try and re-overtake down Ricciardo now to get back into P7 at least. And now we are on to lap 34 down the inside of Sector 1. Ricciardo's locked up quite badly on the right front tire. We squeeze him out. He's off circuit. We get the traction, open DRS, and we will hopefully be back up into P7. Although Ricciardo is still there. And you can see, like I said before with Norris, the Honda power is still there. And with DRS for Ricciardo as well, he's still there on the inside. And he's actually managing to still be neck and neck with us just about with his front wing just by my rear tyre, and he's going to now go on the outside. We're on the inside this time, and now we'll do the exact same thing he did to us, and actually quite funny enough, he does a tiny wheelie himself on the outside there on the curbing as we go very wide and just about make it back on circuit. And we're going to be back up into P7, although you can see up ahead there is Van Dorn. Actually, you can see on the top left there going down the order. He's going to finally make his pit stop now, finally. So Van Dorn had to eventually give up with the strategy he was trying, the two-stop. I don't know why he tried it. Clearly our car just couldn't make it work, and Van Dorn is going to be out of the points and way down the order. Meanwhile though, that is what you just saw, Sebastian Vettel making a move for P10 in this Grand Prix, and Valtteri Bottas unfortunately back down to P11. He already got the P10 taken away from him once by me. Obviously Van Dorn made his pit stop, so Bottas got back into P10, and then he got it taken away quite harshly by Sebastian Vettel. So misery for Renault, once again looking like they're going to miss out on points here this afternoon. Meanwhile now, we've got Pascal Wehrlein now trying to make a move round the outside. We're on the inside defending, but look at that Chevrolet v Jaguar power at the end of this Grand Prix. Looks like the Chevrolet guys are really turning out the wick for Wehrlein in the final lap, and we're going to try and desperately make anything work, but we've got it horribly wrong, and we've double locked up, and actually quite lucky not to lose any of my front wing. But through the final corner then, it'll be Pierre Gasly to come through to win the Austrian Grand Prix quite spectacularly. That is quite something. What a victory for my former teammate Pierre Gasly there. His third win of his career. His last one was way back in season 4 when I was his teammate at the Monaco Grand Prix in 2018. But Pierre will be absolutely astounded by that. And it's a 1-2 for Red Bull Chevrolet at the Red Bull Ring. They have done astounding work, absolutely astounding work. And so now we go and come across the line for P7 in this Grand Prix behind Pascal Wehrlein. And it's going to be Carlos Sainz that's going to finish up here in P5 with Charles Leclerc not too far behind. You can see here, although both Audi and Ferrari yet again have not performed as they should have from their one-lap raw pace, you can see if we're talking about the inter-team battle between Audi and Ferrari, the Ferrari guys aren't too far behind Audi. You can see how close this is. After 36 laps pounding round, so many fights for Leclerc to be so close behind Sainz. You can clearly see Ferrari have closed up to Audi. It's just that both of them equally are just not making the tyres work this season so far. And so it's a triple Chevrolet podium there for Gasly, Kari and Hulkenberg. But once again, I suspect Hulkenberg will be kicking himself that he's not won this Grand Prix. They're unable to make that one-stop work. The only team making that one-stop work were the two Red Bull cars. I mean, Bottas tried to make it work, but he was unsuccessful in his points effort. But wow, what a result. What a bonkers result. Pierre Gasly winning the Austrian Grand Prix. Crazy, crazy stuff. And so what that means for the Drivers' World Championship is we're holding a very commanding lead now with 4 rounds gone, although we still got plenty to go. Obviously, a 16-round calendar for this season, the longest one we've had in MyDriver so far. But a very funny outlook on the standings so far with Pierre Gasly now in P2 and Pascal Wehrlein P3. So remember, Gasly, my former teammate from Red Bull, and Wehrlein in Mercedes in seasons 2 and 3. So the top 3 all consist of drivers who have driven with each other in teams gone by in MyDriver. I just find that a little bit funny just to look at there. It's kind of almost like we flash back to season 4 or season 3 or 2, really. I kind of like that, how all 3 of us are in different teams now, and we're still kind of almost together in the standings. But you can see there, unfortunately for the 2 Audi guys, and really also the Ferraris, still not where they want to be, and they need to really get on top of these strategies. And you can clearly see today with Carlos Sainz in P4 there, not too far behind Hulkenberg, that, you know, even the Haas guys, the Haas Chevrolet guys, couldn't make it work compared to the Red Bull Chevrolet guys, with their car being so light on the tyres, it looks like. But you know, Sainz had the pace to come back in this Grand Prix. Unfortunately, there was just too much of a delta time deficit lost by making that extra pit stop. The Red Bull guys also got very lucky, having made their pit stop under the safety car. So as I said, they effectively got a free pit stop. So yeah, a little bit of luck involved and a little bit of head scratching, and obviously miseries for Verstappen with an engine failure there, and he's not even in the top 12 at this moment in time with 4 rounds gone. So at the moment, it's been a very, very topsy-turvy season, but at the moment we're still pulling through, and I'm very happy in the position we are, because it's been a while since we've ever been this comfortable of a lead or any sort of, you know, situation in MyDriver in the standings. In the Constructors' Championship, we're still in the way with Jaguar, so although Van Dorn had a bit of a misery today, still just there. Haas Chevrolet in 2nd place, but Red Bull now jump back up into 3rd place now, and so they're slowly getting back into where they used to be from seasons 4. Obviously, season 5 and season 6 was a very tough time for Red Bull, and so it's kind of nice for them to be back there in P3. But you can see Audi way down in P6 and Ferrari P5 as well. Those 2 guys are really going to be quite pissed off, and they're going to be looking to rapidly try and do anything or something to try and, you know, fix their issues. I thought it would have been this race, but alas, wasn't meant to be. But guys, if you have enjoyed that absolutely awesome Austrian Grand Prix, so topsy-turvy, smash that like button. You guys have killed it on the likes for the last 3 episodes. You know, I'm going to be honest, it's unfortunate for MyDriver not to exactly get the views that I think it could get compared to the other career modes I do, you know, considering how many more hours of effort I put into these videos. But in terms of the like ratios, you guys kill it. You guys smash that button. And in terms of the comments as well, you guys literally just go ham every single time. No other video compares to it in terms of the level of engagement that you guys have for this series, and for that I can't thank you guys enough. It always puts much more of a smile on my face to see the amazing comments and you guys hitting the like button than it ever would do on the view count compared to any other series. So thank you guys so much for that. Keep killing it, and I'm going to appreciate it, and I'm going to keep appreciating it. So let me know what you thought in the comments below, as per usual. If you are new around here, then do get subscribed for weekly Formula 1 content. I've been aarava. I hope you enjoyed the rest of your day. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.